Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the SRU podcast in the new year. Will, it is 2023, and it's a new year. We just got finished with bowl season. Well, technically, all of the bowls except for the championship game, which we will probably get into more tomorrow when we shoot another podcast with our boy JP. But Will, how was your holiday season? Your Hanukkah, your New Year's? How are you, man?
It was good. I flew out to Israel right after we shot our last episode. Was there for a couple days. Got back in around New Year's Eve. Now I'm just getting back in the way of work, and had to get back on. And let's be real. And I know we're going to talk about this. You took control of the season in terms of the pick'ems, up by one.
Yes, I am up by one. My risky picks, well, not really risky, but they're most of the like 50-50 games I got right.
Yeah,
Um,
it was two games, and you won both of them.
yeah. So hey, it's all what I really thought it would actually happen. It would come down to the championship game. And guess what? Well, we did not predict the championship 100% correct. We actually missed one of the teams that actually won. Even though we both did say TCU would put up a fight, and I said, me personally, I said that TCU had a good chance of winning this game.
Yeah, TCU, just going back at our records, they were an 8-point underdog. And we're going to talk about this more tomorrow when JP comes on because he was at the game. He got to experience it firsthand. Something, that's like almost like a once in a lifetime thing, especially with a school like TCU. They've never made the playoffs up until this year.
Yeah.
They're going up against an undefeated team like Michigan. And we'll talk about that and the Sugar Bowl with Georgia and Ohio State, or not the Sugar Bowl, the Peach Bowl, when Georgia barely beat Ohio State. And let me tell you that perfectly timed New Year's when it turned into New Year's and
On the
Ohio State
East
missed
Coast. Yeah,
right on the field goal miss was
yeah,
it the New Year.
yeah. On the East Coast, when the ball dropped, perfectly timed. All you see is Stetson Bennett running out celebrating, which
Yeah,
is great for Georgia. Sucks for the kicker who's been memed all on Twitter and Instagram and all those social medias. But let's get into our pick'ems. We can review the games that we have, other than really the college football playoff.
yeah. We have 8 games we're gonna cover today, and then we'll cover the two playoffs tomorrow. Preview the
Actually,
champion.
I want to talk about one specific game that we left off. I left off because I did not want to pick for that game.
I know what you're talking about.
Let's talk about my Razorbacks, boy. Arkansas started the game off hot. Well, we we actually scored on the first drive, which was very surprising to me. We got a field goal, but after that, our defense played really good. Then the second half happened. 25 unanswered points, double OT, terrible officiating in the Liberty Bowl. I'm pretty sure it was Pac-12 officials. Leave
I
the
I was 8 hours ahead of you. I was dead asleep during this game.
Yeah, let's leave these Pac-12 officials where they came from, because I never want to see them officiate one of our games again. It was terrible officiating. They did come out and say the targeting call. What was that, after the first overtime when Kansas went for their 2-point conversion? I think it was the second overtime. It went 3 overtimes. That it wasn't a targeting, and McAdoo will be able to play the first game of the season next year if he plays defense. Fun fact, Will, he did get recruited as a receiver, got transitioned into a DB um, through the season, and he's played really good at DB. Honestly, he was our best DB going into this bowl game, but Dwight McGlothern won Defensive Player of the Bowl, a transfer from LSU. So Arkansas pulling out a dub in triple overtime. I'm pretty sure. Let me check that again. It was,
It was a triple
yeah,
overtime.
triple overtime in the Liberty Bowl. I think the highest scoring Liberty Bowl game ever. And
Yeah.
KJ looked great. there is rumors that we might lose our offensive coordinator. Um, if it happens, I hope it. I'm on the fence of it because if it happens, I feel like more people are transferring. Arkansas has a lot of people transferring now. Jordan Dominic just put his name in the transfer portal. Pretty sad because he led our team in sacks, and I'm pretty sure he was up there when it came to nationwide sacks. Arkansas was one of the highest sack leading defenses in college football. But yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest, man.
Yeah. Like I said, I was halfway around the world. I didn't watch any college football while I was over there. Obviously, they didn't, watch it. Um, but I was keeping up with it as much as I could on my phone and seeing that scoreline. I was like, I could have gone to that game because it was in Memphis. I could have gone back up to that game.
If I honestly, I knew it was, but I had family coming down to Texas for New Year's, so I didn't get a chance to go down to Memphis this year. I honestly wish I would have because I definitely would have gone to that game. I had plenty of friends that went to it, and it was a great game. Probably, honestly, that's probably other than the playoff games, that's the best bowl game of the year.
Yeah. Outside of the two playoff bowls and honestly any of the New Year's Six games, that was probably one of the better ones,
Yeah.
if not the best. But we do have four New Year's Six games we're going to talk about today, and the first one we're going to talk about is one we both got wrong in the predictions. One that a team that I've been low-key supporting throughout the season with Cam Rising, and that was Utah, and they did not look good in the Rose
Not at
Bowl.
all. Honestly, I didn't watch that game, but like hearing about that game, Utah did not look good. The quarterback turned running back. I'm not sure how he did. I forgot his name. Will, you probably know it better than me. One from
The
Duncan.
running back.
Yeah,
Hold on.
here I have it. Quentin Jackson.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah, had a decent game, 81 yards and a touchdown. Cam Rising only he went 8 for 21. Will,
Yeah, that was. Well, he did get injured in the start of the second half.
but 8 for 21 is still crazy. Even
Yeah.
before injury, that's ridiculous. But yeah, the backup quarterback Bryson Barnes came in, and Penn State with their 300-year-old quarterback Sean Clifford, who's been at Penn State since the beginning of the Joe Patino. Oh, what's his name?
Joe Paterno.
Yeah, Joe Paterno's era. He's he this was his last college football game, I'm pretty sure, and he had a pretty good game. But
Yeah.
yeah, we both got this one wrong. And good thing for Penn State, they've shown that they are the third best team in the Big Ten, and really they look pretty decent this year. I can't wait to see how they look next year. Um, and I feel like they can definitely build on this and probably climb the ladder when it comes to Big Ten, especially if Harbaugh ends up signing with NFL. Where we hear rumors that if an NFL team reaches out, he will probably leave. I honestly think if the Cardinals fire Cliff Kingsbury, that might be a good spot for him landing. So
Yeah. Well, Black Monday's not that far off, so we'll see.
yeah,
All right. I mean, you basically took all of what I wanted to say about this game. Nicholas Singletary for Penn State had a really good performance. He had two super long touchdowns. The longest was like 87 yards. So I think Penn State, like, they're going in the right direction that James Franklin wants them to. And we talked about earlier, like, James Franklin got that huge extension. And we were like, that's probably, we don't know if it's a good idea or not, but it's starting to be like that, especially when the expanded playoffs come up in 2024. I think like Penn State has that really good chance of being a host, hosting a first round team, if not making the playoffs. So, we'll see.
yeah. So Will, I'm gonna let you take this next one since it hits pretty close to home.
Well, honestly, I was actually on a flight back from New York this game. I watched the first half on the plane because they were showing live TV. So my first half impressions were we did not look good. We were struggling. We kept letting Deuce Vaughn, run all over us. We had nothing going on. We were barely squeaking by 21-10 at a half. And then we just exploded into light with Bryce Young throwing over 300 yards at 5 touchdowns in his last game because he did announce he is going into the draft this week, along with like Will Anderson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Eli Ricks, Jordan Battle, just to name a few of those. Will Reichard is staying, which is huge because probably the best kicker we've had in God knows how long.
Yeah, and you also have probably the most players enter the transfer portal.
Yeah, we had a lot of players enter the transfer portal. We've only come back with one, which was a tight end from Maryland. But knowing me, you already know what the best news about this game was. No more Bill O'Brien.
Right, yeah.
He is your problem now because he's going to become the OC of the Patriots, most likely.
You can't get worse than Matt Patricia, so.
That's what you think.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. He did have Mac Jones in college for 1 year.
No, Mac was gone by the time he came.
Oh, was he really? Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah.
My bad. But yeah, so I feel like, Bill Belichick, disciple, he was a part of a lot of those great teams with the Patriots. So we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Bryce threw 5 touchdowns to 5 different players: Jermaine Burton, Cameron Latu, Ja'Cory Brooks, Toby Prentice, the true freshman, and Isaiah Bond, another true freshman. So, I think this is like the pissed off Nick Saban of not making the playoffs, of a year of like struggling. Because those 2 really close losses to Tennessee and LSU cost them a playoff, and especially like getting Bryce that ring of him as a starter. Something we all wanted to see, but we had some holdbacks by name of Bill O'Brien and Pete Golden.
Yeah.
But we definitely look a lot better on this team, and we don't know who's going to be our starting quarterback next year. If it's going to be Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, or if it's going to be either a true freshman or even a transfer. If we get one of those, I wanted to get Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, but he just announced yesterday he's coming back to Myrtle Beach, so we're not going to get him. Maybe. I think Sam Hartman's still in the portal.
Yeah, he is. I was just about to say that. Maybe you can get my boy, but a lot of people speculate that he's going to end up at Notre Dame. I can see it.
I could see it too. I thought Graham Mertz went to Notre Dame.
Oh, did he?
Didn't he? I think so.
From Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I thought it was going to be DJ going to.
I think DJ landed.
Oh, we didn't talk about that. DJ's going to Oregon State.
Yeah, Oregon State, who has a pretty young team. One of the sleeper teams, I feel like next year, depending on how DJ plays. People saying that Clemson actually held DJ back.
It is possible.
Yeah, another Brian Kelly type thing. They really wanted to get him out so they can get Klubnik in, and we saw how that ended up. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll talk about Klubnik in a second.
Yeah, but yeah, we saw how that ended. Let me go back to this Alabama K-State game. I didn't really watch it at all. My little sister had a volleyball tournament this weekend, so I was there. And I was checking up on it on my phone. But at first, Kansas State came out looking good. I'm like, oh, Alabama might be in a problem. I'll get home, look at the score, and Alabama's blowing them out. I'm like, Jesus. All right, Bryce Young, who made you mad? He woke
Bill
up.
O'Brien.
Yeah, he woke up angry that day, and hey, Alabama pulled it off like we said they would. It was kind of a no-brainer, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I have no idea where we're going to finish now in the end of the poll. I think we'll probably still be a top 5 team.
Y'all might even be 4, honestly. Oh well,
3 or 4 maybe.
5. I feel like y'all would be 5.
I think we'll be ahead of at least Ohio State. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, y'all have 2 losses. They have 2.
That was their second loss.
I don't know. They did lose to the number 1 team, and depending on if Georgia.
They also got blew out by Michigan, and we've had 2 close losses.
Depending on if Georgia wins, we'll tell. But it really doesn't matter. It's the end of the season.
I think it's more of this point going forward and what we're going to be seeing next year. Like I said, we don't know who's going to be our starting quarterback yet. We'll probably see it around spring training come April. But it is, like I said, it is sad seeing this super talented team with, Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and not having a national championship with them as starters. But I it's just going to come down to seeing where they end up in the NFL because I think they have what it takes. I think Bryce and Will could possibly just go 1-2. Hopefully Houston Texans, we get Bryce. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see how we ruin him.
We'll see. Honestly, I feel like wherever he lands, he will be fine.
Yeah.
Depending on depending on if anyone wants to take him first overall or not. He is a Heisman winning QB, and he's in a pro oriented college program, so who knows? But let's go to this next game, the Cotton Bowl, where I live. Big surprise, Will.
Yeah, 100%. Going from one Heisman winner to the other, Caleb Williams, he had almost 500 yards passing with 5 TDs, and they still lost to the Group of Five champion Tulane. Tulane, a school that has been was it once in the SEC. They haven't been in the SEC since the 1930s.
Yeah.
This time a year ago, they were 2-11, or
no 2-10.
2-10. Yeah, they only had 2 years. No one really had much faith in Billy Fritz as the head coach, and they did it. They're like the first Group of Five team since UCF to win a New Year's Six game, and especially with over the Heisman winner, with one of the most talented offenses in recent years.
Yeah. Their running back Tyjae Spears went off 4 touchdowns, 205 yards. Michael Pratt had a pretty good game, even though he went 8 for 17. Well, we know why, because if USC can't stop the run game, why switch it up? He had 234 yards with 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. It's Lincoln Riley. Honestly, good thing that the playoffs is expanding, because I really don't think that he could make it to the playoffs with the terrible defense that USC has had in the past few games, and he can't win a game off offense, even with the most dynamic quarterback in college football. He can't even win against a Group of Five team, and it is showing that Lincoln Riley really needs to get a great defensive coordinator if he ever wants to be good.
Yeah. But we really came down to that last play of the game. It was ruled incomplete pass. They went back and reviewed it. Let me pull my notes. Yeah, the pass to Alex Bowman just like somehow caught it with 9 seconds to go, and just ruined it for USC. And we're waiting on that James Droves USC what happened round 3.
Yeah. Let's go to this next game. Tennessee versus Clemson. Number 6 Tennessee goes against Clemson in the Orange Bowl, and which was a great game. Will, how did you feel about this game, my guy?
Gonna be honest, this was right when I came back from Israel, so I was super jet lagged. I fell asleep. I slept the entire second half of this game, but from what I saw, Joe Milton is like the perfect replacement for Hendon Hooker. I didn't think he was able to do it, especially after his first game back after Hendon Hooker got hurt, was that getting absolutely demolished by South Carolina, and obviously they had that game against Vanderbilt, which does that really count? But Tennessee, and everyone's talking about this, Tennessee is kind of going to be kind of scary next year. Even though Cade Klubnik did have somewhat of a better game, he had 320 yards compared to Milton's 250. But what separated them was Milton had 3 touchdowns. Klubnik had 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So,
yeah, I want to talk about how Dabo Swinney was talking major crap to Tennessee before this bowl game, telling them that they are going to be at home eating burgers, and the probably the biggest troll from all of this is a Tennessee fan sent a burger to Dabo Sweeney and it just got there like yesterday. So Dabo Sweeney got this what 3-day old burger as a troll from a Tennessee fan. I like to see it. Tennessee's defense looked great without Jeremy Banks, who's from Memphis, and a few people who sat out this game. And Big Joe Milton was throwing bombs and dimes. Like I was talking to, you remember Josh, my old roommate, and he was talking about, yeah, he's been able to throw those passes, but he always overthrows them. What he and he has like one more year at Tennessee of eligibility.
Yeah, wasn't it a transfer?
Yeah, he was a transfer from Michigan.
Yeah, and they still have, and they also have that 5-star coming in too next year.
The $8 million 5-star. Can't say his name. I've even seen a video of him pronouncing his name. Still won't be able to say it.
Yeah,
So his McDonald's bag is looking pretty good with that $8 million that came in.
yeah.
But Clemson, the bright spot on them is Will Shipley. That man looked great. I feel like every time he touched the ball, it was like a free 5 yards. He averaged 4.2 yards in that game with only 72 yards, but he still played great. And what we just said, Cade Klubnik had a great game, even though he had 54 attempts with 320 yards and 2 interceptions. He looked like he could be a great quarterback and probably a Heisman front runner for next year, depending on how they play. But yeah, Dabo Sweeney, he doesn't like the transfer portal or NIL. I saw what he said. We're using the NIL of the Lord Jesus Christ or something like that. Something corny. Who knows? But let's go to this next game. Well, we can.
Yeah, we're gonna have to skip over the last two because we're gonna talk about those tomorrow with JP. So
Yeah.
moving on to a game that was kind of a blowout. Let's be real.
No. This game was close.
Was it actually?
Yeah, it was very close.
I assumed it was a blowout. Again, however,
Oregon won by 1 point. I think they kicked the field goal to end the game, or it was 2 point conversion, something like that.
I didn't watch. You know better than I do.
Yeah, this game was like actually really close. I didn't watch it because Arkansas played football, then Arkansas basketball came after that, and I didn't want to watch any more college football after the Arkansas game. Actually, after that Arkansas game, I contemplated being an Arkansas fan after all the stress that game put me through. So yeah, I was done. But good news for Oregon, Bo Nix is coming back next year.
And this was a game of possibly two of the best quarterbacks in next year's draft. You have Bo Nix versus Drake May. They have 200 yards each, 5 combined touchdowns. And I'm not gonna lie, like going into the season, like halfway through the season when everyone's hyping up Drake May, I didn't see it. But after looking at these stats, I'm like, okay. Initially when I saw these mock drafts up for next year, I'm like, okay, he's just gonna be like the next Will Levis, just getting overhyped when he doesn't really have the stats to back him up.
Yeah.
I still don't think Will Levis should be like a first round pick, but someone like Washington.
They have him going first quarterback taken.
Yeah, it's gonna be like someone like Indy or I don't know who else is gonna be like that.
They're gonna pull a Jared Goff, Carson Wentz.
I honestly would not be surprised if the Texans just said, "F it, we're gonna take him instead of Bryce Young, CJ Stroud."
Well, if that happens, I wouldn't even blame you for dropping the Texans after your NFL team.
I'm in too deep now. There's no going back.
I wouldn't blame you. But this game was really close. From what I saw, it was a good game. To be honest, I wish I would have watched it, but it was the scheduling of the game was like I'm pretty sure like at halftime, Arkansas was in like their third overtime or something like that. So I didn't watch it.
But and Bucky Irving, their running back for Oregon, actually had a good game. He had about 150 yards on the ground.
Yeah. With 2
I don't know if he's coming back or not, but if he is, that's a good plus. And this just makes it more intriguing for next year because Oregon State is going to be Bo Nix versus DJ.
Yeah, I feel like
And
that game would probably be the best rivalry game next year if you take the both of them coming in from this year. That will be a great game. Honestly, what else I was about to say about this game?
I don't know.
Hmm.
You just want to move on to the next one because I think that's
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you already know I'm ready to talk about this game.
yeah, this was another one I got wrong and what essentially cost me the lead. Washington coming up on Texas, nice 7 point win over them. Quinn Ewers almost had 400 yards, and yet he still only had one touchdown compared to Michael Penix Jr., who had almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. And realistically, I think Michael Penix is going to be, up in that echelon of good quarterbacks in next year's draft. He was a transfer. I don't remember from where, but
he was from
we kind of saw this from where?
Indiana, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Indiana. Yeah, that's right. We didn't really know much about him, and then he had that really good game against Michigan State at the start of the season. It was like kind of just put him on radar, and he did finish top 10 in the Heisman voting too. But again, this was a game I got wrong. Texas.
I tell you, man, it's all about that Penix.
It didn't help you had Bijan Robinson sitting out this game. He went on to go declare for the draft. That's going to be my piece on it. Honestly, these last couple games, I don't really know much about. We can kind of just breeze through these if you want to and make this.
Yeah. Well, let me give you one more thing for that Alamo Bowl game. Bijan Robinson, they have him compared as a Saquon Barkley type of running back, dynamic, real strong, has the speed. So a lot of people have him going high in the drafts, and now you don't even see running backs really going in the first round. They're more of a second round type deal. What Najee was first round 2 years ago. Pretty sure, was there a first round pick taken last year for running
back? I
don't know of.
No, there was 2 in the year before with Najee and Travis Etienne.
Yeah. Well, Travis Etienne was also a big question mark because he gained a lot of weight and he got injured and then
they had James Robinson. They didn't need a
But yeah, taking running backs in the first round is really controversial now because they don't last that long in the NFL. I feel like you can get a good running back, and that they don't even have to go to a big school. You can get a good running back pretty quickly. But yeah, we can go to this next game, the Gator Bowl.
This was an exciting game. It was essentially back and forth scoring. South Carolina tied it with a 100-yard pick six. Notre Dame ended up scoring with a minute left to take the win. But there are 2 talking points I want to talk about this game, basically as a whole for both their seasons. Notre Dame, we were essentially the laughing stock at the start of the season, losing to Marshall and starting off 1-3. They've turned their season around and had a really good year. South Carolina, kind of the same deal with Spencer Rattler at quarterback. They had those 2 massive wins in the season over Tennessee and Clemson, and
lost
almost and Arkansas.
No, they lost us.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, 3rd game of the season.
Oh, yeah. But I do think where Shane Beamer has them is going to be a good direction. I think there will be. I'm going to say they're going to be the 3rd best SEC East team next year behind Georgia and Tennessee. I know it's super early. It's January. We won't talk predictions until August. But I think South Carolina, if they keep Spencer Rattler for another year, they are going to be in really good hands.
Yeah. Spencer Rattler, he's definitely coming back. I don't know if you saw the throw that he made to, I forgot who it was, but it was probably one of the craziest throws to catches that I've seen. The guy barely got his foot in. It was actually controversial. A lot of people saying that he didn't get his foot in. But this game, I didn't really. I don't think I watched this game. I probably seen a little bit of it. This game was pretty good. Honestly, I remember because we were picking games, and at first I picked Notre Dame. Then you reminded me that their quarterback was not playing, and I was like, and you told me you have to the end until after I pick to switch your pick, and I had
And
Notre
that,
Dame, and
and I
I should have kept Notre Dame because I would be up 2 wins, and there would be no way for you to get out our bet, basically.
yep.
So thank my indecisiveness that you have a chance to not embarrass well not embarrass yourself, not embarrass not have to do the Arkansas fight song in Arkansas gear.
Yeah, that one again. We still have one more game left that we're gonna pick. So
Yeah, and we did tally up our records. I have a 69% win.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
nice. 69%.
I'm right at 68. He has one game up on me.
Yeah. So I feel like altogether we did do a pretty good job picking games this year.
Obviously, so much can happen in college football.
Yeah.
But there's one game left we want to talk about, and that is the one stone is the Outback Bowl, known as the RoyalQuest Bowl, and this one had the ending I think all of college football wanted. Mississippi State winning at almost the last second to beat Illinois and get that one last win for Mike Leach, who passed away a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Hey, I called it at the end of last podcast that Mississippi State was going to go out and fight for their coach, and guess what happened? They won with some nice helmets, I might say, with their little pirate flag on there to commemorate their late coach Mike Leach.
Yeah. It wasn't, some people would say it's not the Mike Leach-esque game because it's not a very high scoring air raid game. Well, I mean, Will Rogers still had 260 yards, but
yeah, 2 interceptions also, which is very Will Rogers
yeah,
game.
but I'm not going to criticize this. It's all about Coach Leach, and I think even Illinois fans are like, they deserved it more. So there's a class that shoe, the memorial on the pirate ship because he was the Pirates, and we're now into the Zach Barnett era at Mississippi State. It'll be interesting to see where it goes next year, but other than that, good for Mississippi State for getting this one last win, Coach Leach.
Yeah. So that will end our podcast for today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And see you later.
And obviously, coming off of what happened the other night, prayers up to Damar Hamlin.
Oh yeah, also that.
That was scary watching that game. F Skip Bayless for that tweet.
All right. I'll see you later, Will. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, deuces.